Hello, everybody. How are you? And welcome to Ascended Masters. My name is Jay Matta, and I'm here with a soul sister, Kendra
Mm.
Divine. How are you, Kendra?
Good. How are you?
I'm really great. Thanks. And thanks for coming on here. Everybody, every now and then you meet someone who's, really connected. And I got to tell you something. When we put together the Ascended Masters Network, it was really for divinely inspired people like Kendra. And you're going to find out in a second because she really is tapped in, tuned in. And we wanted to get a chance for you to meet her to really share about how her gifts can help you on your journey, as we call life. So, Kendra, thanks for being here with us. There's people that are really out there reaching out. They're looking for someone or something or somehow to try to get connected to their source. We've interviewed you before, had some conversations with you, and you definitely got tapped in, tuned in. But can you share with the audience that is meeting you for the first time here? What is your gift? What are you tapped in, tuned into, and how is it that you can really help people in their life's journey?
Well, I have the gift of prophecy, but I'm also a trained metaphysical healer. So I help people by completing the trauma cycles instead of just dealing with the symptoms and continuing to loop through, different relationships or situations, but the same trauma keeps repeating. Because what is not repaired is repeated. And so versus managing symptoms, I guide the body into completing the trauma cycles. And then you don't have the emotional affecting the physical, which creates disease.
Is that why you feel a lot of people come to you for? Is it for those kind of reasons you think?
I feel everyone comes from some level of dysfunction just because of the society that we live in. So everyone normally starts out with a healing session. Yeah.
Now, you when you were on our show, we interviewed you, and in your past life, you actually were in the essence of Cleopatra, as people know her. Do you
Right.
feel a lot of people bring over from your experience a lot of past life stuff that needs to be completed in this life? Do you feel that's prevalent?
Well, it all has its place, but for me, I have if something's carrying over from a past life, I have them like 5 minutes. Tell me everything you need to tell me about a past life, and then how did it make you feel? And then let's jump right in. Like, how does that correlate to this life?
When someone comes to you and they want to book a session with you, what would you like for them to do to get prepared? Like, how do they get prepped for this?
Mm.
Because this is a really important time for people, and there's a lot of people that just haven't gotten to the point where they've connected with a, let's call it, an earthly spiritual guide at this point. But what do you think is best for them to be ready to have a session with you so it's the most successful it can be for them?
Just being open and allowing yourself to receive, I think is the most important part. Then also just like knowing what it is that you want to work on. A lot of times people come in person to see me for readings and they don't even know why they're being drawn. They're just coming in. And so it's, you can't receive if you're not doing an asking. And so I always tell people like, you need to be clear at what you're asking the universe for. And that's why we subconsciously manifest things.
So when people have a reading with you from your experience, what is it that you expect for them to have experienced at the end of that all?
Um, Healing and relief. I mean, I don't really think that I have expectations. I just see them healing.
You just see them healing. Okay.
Yeah, it's a transformation. I tell them when we're going to do a healing session, like be ready for your life to change, because anything that was in the way of like holding these blocks in place is going to be released. So I see people like they just have massive transformations. That's why I don't see many of my clients more than a few times unless they're working with me on like coaching or mentoring. Because their life shifts so dramatically that they're good to go. And that's my job, not to make you dependent or reliant, but to give you a solid foundation to stand on your own.
I appreciate that you're saying that there because that's important because a lot of people do get reliant on their guides, and you're come from the philosophy, and we've talked about this before. Like, hey, a few times, and that's all you should. Talk to me a little bit about the mentoring that you do for people when they're with you long term. Can you give us a scope of what that looks like for those that are interested in possibly that scenario?
So that's more along the lines of like learning how to love yourself, like that's a process and it doesn't just shift overnight. So that's where I say, like, let's do like 6 months or a year. And that's like basically every time something comes up or a big trigger, we're working together once a week. So we're working through all of those triggers as they're coming. And then also just, it's kind of like reprogramming your mind so that you're not constantly thinking these thoughts, these self-deprecating, self-hating thoughts. And I just feel like, I know I walked that journey and I had my mentors, and without them constantly guiding me along the way for the first couple of years, I would have slipped back into old patterns. So it's necessary in those cases. But when it comes to readings, like, I want to connect you to your own source so that you know how to receive information versus making you dependent. I feel that we already have a sick prophet with our medical system that, as guides and guardians of this planet, we don't need to make people dependent on us.
Well said. Well said. Well, listen, I want to thank you very much for your service and your divine gift that you're actually having the courage to share out there with everybody.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Much love for you doing this, really. And so everybody, if you are connecting with Kendra's message and you want a session and you just need that real breakthrough, you've heard it from her. Look, her objective is to say, hey, 1 to 2 times I should be able to help get you connected to your source so you can really get on your journey yourself. And if you're one of those that, hey, maybe I need a little bit more hand-holding and I'd like an earthly guide mentor, you can always find out everything on KendraDivinePurposeMentor.com. So thank you, everybody. We sure hope you meeting Kendra helps you in your journey called life. Kendra, thank you again for your service, and we'll see you all next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.